We're going to Florida. Alex Smith.
Candace, I love your story. I must tell you, from a loyal customer, I put this in the chat. When I walked into Disney Springs, I thought this was like Disney making it. This has to be Disney's magic at hand. And I'm like, is that an AT? What is happening? And you see the arms go to like the box in the shop, and like I'm like, this is like, am I in 20? This was in like 2017 or 6. Like, this isn't like futuristic. This was like years ago, where
it was pre-pandemic, like this
yeah.
contactless delivery cupcake system. We thought it was just going to be a fun marketing gimmick, and then all of a sudden we're like, this is driving business. And now they're in airports, and as you said, in Disney and college campuses. So it's been really fun.
I had never even heard of the company, honestly. I mean, and I found that, and I was like, this is what I'm getting every time I go to Disney Springs. It was amazing. And the red velvet cupcake was amazing. Yeah, I guess, when I hear entrepreneurs' stories, like you always hear the end, but like never like all the middle in between, like you having that idea, taking action. It's easy to say that, but like it's hard to know what that looks like. So I guess I'm curious to know, like, when did you know, I imagine maybe you've had some projects in your life you didn't have nearly as much success on as Sprinkles. So maybe like it's a two-part question. One, like, when did you know like this was an idea worth pursuing, and then it could be something? Sometimes we need that validation. Maybe it's internal, it's external. We need some type of validation to let us know we're on the right path, or else like we could be doing our awesome cupcake thing, and then 10 years down the road we're, selling our house because of it or something. I don't know. But then the other side, like the other question would be like, when did you know like some projects you've worked on and put your, heart into, sweat and tears, and maybe realized it wasn't something to be? Curious, that inflection point for both those things.
So thank you for bringing up the fact that we all focus on the end of the story, the fairy tale end, and the success, because that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. Is I wanted people to understand all the messy first steps that have to happen. Everyone who ended up with something successful started with nothing, right? They started with an idea and they had to figure it out. They had to put the pieces together, find their co-founder, find their funding, bootstrap it, what have you. For me, because nobody believed in my idea, finding funding was never an option. So I knew I had to be really scrappy and bootstrap this idea. And I wasn't about to plunk down my entire life savings on, betting it all on cupcakes if I didn't have some validation for my thesis. And so that's why I just started baking out of my kitchen. By the way, wasn't legal at the time. Now there are some food cottage laws that allow for that. But I was just baking out of my kitchen, taking the risk. And it was that day when Tyra Banks's producer called me and wanted cupcakes for her 30th birthday that I thought, oh my God, I am new to LA. I'm baking these little cupcakes out of my tiny kitchen in West Hollywood, and Tyra Banks is going to be celebrating with these things. Okay, I'm on to something. And at that point, then I knew, well, I got to go fast, because what if somebody takes this idea and runs with it first? But I think Sprinkles had really so much success right off the bat that I didn't learn my hard lessons until later. I think after I'd bootstrapped and scaled, and granted, so many mistakes along the way, and I go over those in the book. But from the outside, it kind of looks like, oh, I just opened this business, it scaled, I sold it, and it was just a home run, which it was. But then I kind of thought, oh, I'm good at this entrepreneurship thing. I got this, And my husband and I started a few businesses, and we kind of thought, oh, it's a good idea. We'll partner with some founders and we'll be off to the races once again. We got the magic touch. No, it doesn't work like that. And I think the thing that we learned that's so important is this idea of being so intentional and so focused. And even within the business of Sprinkles, and I talk about this in the book, we kind of lost the thread for a minute, because I'm a creative person. I like starting things. That's something I've had to learn, like, focus, don't just, scatter everything everywhere all the time. We started an ice cream concept within Sprinkles and spent so much time working on that. It was so creatively fulfilling. It was fabulous. The product was amazing. Well, all those ice cream shops are closed. the business model did not work, and it paled in comparison to the cupcake business model. And with the time that we spent working on that and having so much fun doing it, mind you, we could have expanded Sprinkles by 5 more stores and taken all that money to the bottom line and gotten that multiple when we sold the company. So there are many failures and mistakes, but the key is that resilience and picking yourself back up from the failure, taking the lessons and applying it to your next day, your next project, your next company.